Good morning. Today I'm going to teach you the eighth chapter of your textbook, Flamingo textbook, that is Going Places, and it is authored by A.R. Barton. The characters in this chapter are Sophie, who plays the main role, or you can call her the protagonist. All right. The second one is Geoff, who is her elder brother. Then comes the next one, Jancy, who is Sophie's friend as well as her classmate, and Dene Casey. He is a famous Irish football player, right? And the next one is Sophie's father. The next one, Sophie's mother. Though she plays a very minute role, uh, she is mentioned in one or two scenes, but she doesn't play much important role. And the seventh one is Derek, who is Sophie's younger brother. Now, each lesson or each chapters has a theme and a sub theme. So in this chapter, the theme deals with teenagers or adolescents fantasizing about their hero or their idol. Like these days, teenagers like fantasize or are a big fan of K-pop, BTS, right? Or you may not agree with BTS alone. You may have other choices of your own. So it is about the teenagers idolizing or fantasizing their own heroes or their idol, or you can also call or refer to it as idol worship. All right. So in this chapter, Sophie is a girl who imagines a lot, who lives in her own world of imagination, and the stories or the incident that she narrates to her brother is all a figment of her imagination. All right. um, okay, and it deals with the characters relationship shared between the family members and the character and the relationship with the friends. Okay, so moving on, the chapter starts with Sophie and Jancy returning from their school after the school hour, and Sophie is, like I mentioned, is a girl who lives in her own world. She is a dreamer. She dreams like anything, all right, and she can also be considered as an escapist. And she has so many aims. So she is already in a conversation with her friend Jancy, and she tells the dreams that she aspires to achieve in her life. So she starts with, her desire to own or to open a boutique on her own, right? And when Jancy discourages her from dreaming such thing, then she or Jancy asks her how she is going to get a whole lot of money to open a boutique, because you need to have so much money to open or to start a shop, right? Boutique is a stall or a store that deals with clothes, all right? So then Jancy jumps on to the next aim. That means she is going to become a manager. So when Jancy interrupts that nobody would hire her or give her the post of manager right after uh, her school, then Sophie expresses her desire in becoming an actress or a fashion designer like Marie Quant, all right? And then she can also own a boutique, and she expresses that her boutique is not going to be an ordinary boutique that the city has, but something extraordinary that no one has ever owned such a boutique till date. All right, and then Jancy is also described here. Okay, uh, now there are a whole lot of differences between these two girls, Sophie and Jancy. though they are friends, they are classmates, they are totally different from each other. So in your examinations, uh, you may be asked, though they are classmates and friends, yet they are totally different, or they have different personality. So this may come in handy. All right. Sophie isn't aware of the fact that she belongs to a lower middle class family whose parents or whose family struggles to meet the end, or to make the ends meet. All right. uh, she can also be called an escapist, a dreamer. All right. She's not being practical. She likes to get away from the realities of the harsh world by dreaming about the things that she cannot reach. All right. Whereas Jency, on the other side, is a practical girl, and she knows that her fate is going to be, or her future is going to be in a biscuit factory working there. And she is very much aware of the uh, family that she is born into. All right. And then comes the description of Sophie's father. So the girls, after having reached, especially Sophie's house, Sophie enters into the house saying that she is going to open a boutique. So that is overheard by her father. So her father, after having overheard his daughter's desire to open a boutique, asks her to buy the family a proper house to live in. Right? So the father is described as a very hardworking man, strict, and he knows his daughter Sophie very well. Right? He also likes to celebrate for small occasions, like, the entire family of Sophie is a big fan of Danny Casey, and when Danny Casey or his team, that is the United, wins, he would go to bar to celebrate the victory. All right. So, okay. Now comes Derek, who is Sophie's younger brother, and when Sophie entered into the house, the father said or told her to buy a proper house to for the entire family to live in. And Sophie's younger brother Derek was also there. So he kind of, mockingly states the sentence like, uh, his sister imagines money growing on trees. All right. Then Sophie's mother is also there in the house. She was doing dishes, or washing the plates or the platters, and she does not like the clash or the argument or kind of, remarks passed between the father and the daughter. All right, she sighs. And during that time, when Sophie notices that her mother was doing the dishes, she notices the complete mismatch between her crooked back. You know, crooked back means the back which is bent, not straight. And remember, she's doing the dishes, and then she was also wearing uh, an apron to prevent or to protect her dress from getting dirtied. All right. So, and there was a total mismatch between the delicate bow that she was bending over, and the strings of the apron being tied. Right. So the bent back also indicates their poverty. Right. So she worked so much that she has developed a back that is bent. All right. And then Sophie actually her duty, or she should have the sense of helping her mother, right? But she doesn't help her mother. Instead, she feels a kind of suffocation in her throat. That means she does not want to help her mother in cleaning the or in doing the dishes. All right. And after having seen a pile of dishes piled up, you know, in one of the corners, so she avoids the scene and goes in search of her elder brother Geoff. All right. And then she finds Job working in his room. He was working on uh, repairing a part of motorcycle. Okay, so now the uh, character Jove is being introduced here. So it has been almost like 3 years since Jove left the school and is now working as an assistant mechanic, right? And he has to travel far off to his workplace. So this also reflects how poor or how struggling the family struggle. All right. And then Jove generally does not like to talk much. He likes to keep to himself, you know. Sophie has to struggle a lot to make Jove talk. So she asks a whole lot of questions to him. Then only she gets to know uh, things about Jove, right? And then Sophie has perceptions about her brother. She most of time feels jealous of her brother because Geoff, not being talkative, remains silent or does not talk about his friends or does not talk about his workplace. So she feels jealous. She wants to know about the places that he is visiting, or the workplace, or the people that he meets, or his friends. And she also feels that when Jove isn't talking, Jove is lost in his own world, right? And then she wants Jove to speak about everything openly to her. She wants to be involved in Jove's world. So when Jove doesn't tell about the people or the workplace, anything about them, uh, that remains a kind of fascination for her. All right. So uh, she okay. So and then she also imagines, or she wishes to be taken by her brother on his bike, and then go to those places visited by Jove and meet his friends. But their father is totally against this idea. All right. And okay, so now you know that Sophie is very imaginative, is very creative, right? Fantasizes like anything. So she imagines her brother wearing a shiny black leather clothes and herself wearing a yellow cappy. Cappy means a kind of a dress that is worn over, and when they are riding on the bike, because of the speed, her cape would be flying behind her. And then, after having reached the particular place where the brother would take her, she imagines the people rising up from their seats and then welcoming them with a applause, right? So such is the fantasy of Sophie. But remember, these are all her fantasy, not in reality. All right. So Sophie tells, after having seen her brother in his room, Sophie tells Job about her meeting Danny Casey. So this is totally a part of her fantasy, not in actual. All right. So she tells her brother that she met Danny Casey in the arcade, right? Arcade means it's a kind of a passageway, all right, between the uh, stores or between the stalls, all right. And then she happened to be looking at the displays of clothes in Roy's window. So Roy's shop is the name of a shop, and she was looking at the displays outside the window of the Roy's shop, all right. So uh, Geoff asked Sophie how Danny Casey looked. Then she describes about Danny Casey having green eyes and not being too tall, right? Too tall. So she wanted to tell him about the teeth, but she dropped the idea of um, telling about teeth because she knew that this is not a true uh, incident, or that was just a lie or her fantasy. And if she mentioned a great detail about Danny Casey, she might get caught, isn't it? Because Danny Casey is not just an ordinary man or a boy. He is a famous celebrity or a football player. So obviously people would have whole lot of pictures, or they might have seen his interviews on televisions, right? So she feared being caught. So she dropped the idea of telling him about his teeth, all right? So Geoff, even though Geoff doesn't believe her, but still he interacts or gets involved, or he shares his interest in the conversation uh, with his sister. All right, and Geoff one time tells their father that Sophie has met Danny Casey, and the reaction of the father was like, he didn't believe her. All right. So during that time, Sophie wriggles so uncomfortably in her seat because she knew that she did not uh, actually meet Danny Casey, and she feared getting caught. All right. And then father and son discuss about Danny Casey. Uh, Though the duo means father and the son agree that Danny Casey is the best player in the team, yet the father feels that with so much name and fame earned by Danny Casey at such a tender age, and many fans, especially girls, following him, he would easily be spoiled or get carried away with name and fame. So, if he does not uh, stay focused on his career, he is surely going to ruin his career, ruin his life. So, that's what is likely to happen when a child or when a person at a very young age attains fame and name. He is going to be carried away with that fame, and because of that, like fame and name, he is not going to be like he is going to be too boastful, arrogant. So in that way, the person is going to ruin his own life or career. All right. So similarly, the father fears that if Danny Casey doesn't stay focused or doesn't stay down to the earth, he is going to be carried away. All right. So Sophie interrupts their conversation that Danny Casey would be buying a shop. So father, after hearing his daughter talk about Danny Casey opening or buying a shop, he asked her whether that was one of her wild stories that indicates the father knowing his daughter too well. All right.